I'm offended. It's like, okay, conversation over.
Bible census Freemasons. Is it flat or is it something like something else? If we're going to get here this globe, and we're going to throw it down there, and we're going to give it away. There it is. Quite close. It's flat. It's not an easy question, is it? All this shit here.
No.
Not conspiracy theories, they're real.
You're still asleep.
And all power and glory goes to Christ. All right, good morning. So I've been lucky enough to be invited onto the Sun and Moon Family United channel there again. Thank you, Karen. I think that's happening at the end of this week, Friday morning, Thursday night, Karen's time, Karen's saying to me. So what I thought I'd do is just do a little bit more work on the topic. So what I'm talking about where the sun is. So the reason why I see the sun south of me when I'm south of the Tropic of Capricorn. It happens right throughout summer. You can see the sun there and behind me there. We're sort of coming in halfway now between the solstice and the equinox, so it's heading north again, but still the sun for most of the day is in the southern sky. So I had that I had a hangout there with Karen and the gang there the other day, and we had a bit of a like-minded talk about it, and I've done my 2 videos about a day in the path of the sun. So I started to do a little bit of follow-up work to it, and it's really it's led me to being quite mystified with what I've found, and more questions abound. Now, remember, when I do these things, I do it without bias. So I quite often receive commentary that I should just say I'm a flat earther, but I'm not. I'm not a flat earther because I don't know the earth is flat. I think it's flat. I look out there behind me and everything looks flat. The Bible tells me it's flat, but I just don't know. I can't know because we're being lied to by the people who control the world, who control the information, who control history, the Freemasons. I've got no real. I can't know what it is while these people are in the way. So all I can do is rely on my 2 other things, and that's my senses, and that's the Bible, and I'll keep doing that, and collaborate with others as they read the Bible, hopefully, and trust their senses. Now, just a quick shout out to the Globers. I really feel as though I need to address the Globers because these sorts of videos do seem to bring a lot of interest to the Globers. It's interesting, you have a look at my videos and you rank them in order. I'm just a small channel. I'm blessed enough to have around 50 subscribers, so thank you. I love the fact that you're with me. It means a lot to me that you're with me. But in any case, I'm only a small channel. I've got about 50 subs and I'm up to about 3,000 views. I'm just a guy from the Central Coast. You know, I'm really in the general scheme of things on YouTube, I'm no one. I'm just a 50 sub channel. But I get all this attention. So you have a look at all my videos, every single one of them. Like, you rank them from top 10 and everything is flat earth. That top one where I'm in the park, it's 100 and how many views now? You know, and all these comments, you have a look at some of these comments. Just ridiculous. I address a lot of the things they say in my video, but they just ignore them. They come on and say, oh, so you don't have a working model, so it must be a globe. No, it doesn't mean that. It just means the people who control the information are lying to us and preventing from getting to us. And if you run around claiming that you know the answer to these things, you're just lying and you're just falling for the psyop. The tilt, they'll screech, tilt, they'll screech at me. That's why this happens. No, again, it doesn't happen. So when the ball goes up, so you can see the edge of my knuckle there, that's on the ball. That's any, it sort of sticks out, and that's how the tilt works. And the part of the earth that tilts the most towards the sun at that time is in direct alignment with the sun. So that's the Tropic of Capricorn during the summertime, and if that's happening due to the tilt, I still should be south of it, but no, the sun's always south of me. So it's not the tilt. The tilt's nonsense. If you follow a model where you need some invisible force to fill your numerous and endless gaps, gravity, I mean, you're pissing in the wind. If I now get see my feet, can you see my feet down here? So if I get my super duper feet with thongs on, and I get my drill bit on, and I go grrr, and I go all the way to the other side of the earth, don't worry about the waters that I'll find there in Exodus 20 verse 4. Don't worry about them. Don't worry about them at all. But if I get my feet and I drill all the way to the other side of the earth, I'll come to Liberia on the east coast of of Africa. Liberia, it's called. It's a country there. So I'll bore my way through the other side of the earth, but I'll come out. I'll come out with my feet pointing the air and my head on the ground, and I'll get up and I'll have to sort of somehow. I don't know how I do it here. I'd have to somehow spin myself around so I'm not on my head anymore and I'm now on my feet. No, it doesn't work. It doesn't happen. It's the fact that the earth, that everybody on the earth, the majority of people on the earth follow this folly model. It's just a reflection of where society's at. It's not a globe. So if you want to come in here again and criticise this video and start carrying on about this video because you think it's a globe and you're protecting this demonic lie, you go for it. But as I've said numerous times previously, I'm not interested, because all you want to do is just pull us all back down. Those people who have got a genuine interest, those of us who have got a genuine interest in this topic, all you want to do is pull us down into the cesspit that is flat earth, globe earth, get us back into the debate about it. And the debate for me is long past. It's settled. It's not a globe. So when I say all this, I do it without bias. At the end of the day, I don't really care what shape the earth is. When I say I don't care, I've got an enormous interest in it. I'd love to know. But at the end of the day, what the answer is what the answer is. The truth is the truth, and that's all I want. So I've got no preconceived ideas. I do all this without bias. Okay, so there's that. So let's go and have a look. So I did up a... This started for me with... Just I want to try to get an idea of where the sun is in the sky in relation to other parts of the world at the same time. So what I found is, so what I tried to do here first of all is I just went...
So I started this off on the 23rd. I started working on the 23rd, and I've done a little bit more work on it since. So that's the day I'm looking at. I'm looking at the 23rd of the 1st this year. So I tried to find just sort of similarities, like when the sun was going down here in Sydney compared to when it might have been coming up in London. And it happens a couple of times. So you can see when the sun set. The sun set here in Sydney at 20:06. That's 8:06 at night here, and it's about 9:06 in the morning in London. Now you can see here in London the sun comes up at about 7:51. So it's close to the same time. It's around about an hour. So you can see in Sydney when it went down at 246 degrees. Now remember, with the degrees, you've got 0 degrees is north, and then you've got 90 degrees is east, 180 degrees is south, 270 is west, and 360 and 0 is north. Okay, so anything less than 90 degrees and over 0 degrees is in the northeast sky. Anything from between 190 degrees and 180 degrees is in the southeast sky. Okay, so, and it's the same the other way around. So from anywhere, so the west side, so anywhere from 180 to 270 is in the southwest. Anywhere from 270 to 360 is in the northwest. Okay, you getting it? So I don't know if you can see on this piece of paper I've got here in front of me yet what I'm sort of saying, but it's incredible what I'm finding here. So when it goes down here in Sydney, it goes down in the southwest sky, and it's 246 degrees. So it's about 24 degrees south of west when it comes down here. Now around about the same time, so that time is 9:06 in London, and the sun come up around about an hour before that. Okay, so let's just say they're the same time. They're the same time, just for sake of argument. I know they're a little bit different, but just for sake of argument, so I can try to articulate what I'm trying to say here. So when I look southwest, so I look down that way, I look at the southwest sky. So I'm here at this point, and the sun is southwest of me, around about 20 odd degrees south of east, south of west. Now when the sun's coming up in London, they're seeing the same object at the same time, give or take an hour. Same object at the same time, 121 degrees in their southeast skyline. So it's just it's pretty close to where the sun comes up here in Sydney. It's a little bit further south than when the sun comes up in Sydney. So when I look at this object, it's just slightly south of me and it's down there. So when they look at this object, they're the other side of that and it's coming towards them. It's slightly further south of them, but it's pretty well much on the same plane. So remember, 90 degrees is the difference between east and south, and 45 degrees is is half of that, so that's southwest. Now we're talking a difference in Sydney's sun up to London's sun up of 7 degrees. You'd hardly see it. It'd be like I reckon it'd be within the size of the sun. You can see, you know, like in cricket where it's a ball width, it's like a sun width. It's within a sun width of that degrees. You picking up what I'm putting down? Okay, so it's the same with both. It's the same with the Sydney sun up and the London sun up and the London sun down and the Sydney sun down. It's the same. They rise and they fall. It rises and it sets in pretty much the same part in pretty much of the southern sky in both locations, but yet that's way up there and we're way down here. I don't get it. I don't get it. There's a difference there with the seasons. There's absolutely a massive difference there with the season and the length of days. What I can see is different between here in England with what I've been told by my friends up north is the way the sun goes up there during the winter is I think it rises and then it rises just south of east and then it goes fairly well south, does a bit of a hook and then comes back up that way. Comes back up, goes to the southern sky all day, does a bit of a hook and then rises. It returns back to a more easterly, a more east-west point, that east-west line. It returns back to that at sunset. Here it does the opposite, so it rises about the same spot as it does in England to the naked eye, and then it hooks slightly up, slightly north at its zenith. It only spends an hour or two in the northern sky here during summer, and then it goes back down to the south and it sets pretty much in the same point as where it does in England. So the sun does a different path, but at the same point when it rises, at the same point when it sets, it's exactly the same. Well, not exactly the same, but it's pretty much the same part of the sky as what it does here, but at opposite ends of the day. It's weird. It's really, really weird. So what I then did, I thought, okay, I'll extend my sort of research, if that's the word here. I'll have a look at a couple of other places. Because I thought there's got to be a place somewhere on Earth during summer where the sun's north of them. There has to be, because what I'm seeing at the moment is during summer here and during winter, during for the north, the sun's always rising and setting in the southern sky no matter where you are. I can't find a place. You can see all these places I've listed here. I can't find one place. I cannot find one place on the Earth where the sun either rises or sets in the northern sky during these months. It's bizarre. I can't get my head around it. So I had a look at Singapore. Now Singapore was interesting. So you have a look at Singapore and it rises slightly further to the east, slightly closer to the east, so a little bit more north than what it does here in London. And when it sets, it does the same thing. It's a little bit closer. It's a little bit closer up to west again, but it's still south. So I thought to myself, okay, so there seems to be a trend here where it's going. The further north it goes, the further north it goes, the further north we go, the further north the sun goes. So I thought, okay, so maybe there's a point somewhere. So I had a look at all of these places here, here that I've got listed. So Port Moresby's between here and Singapore, and it's pretty consistent. You know, well, well, no, it's not, is it? Because it's further. It's further to it's south of here, and it's further to the east there, isn't it? 109 degrees than what it is in Singapore. So it looks like that's the point I've found. That's the most. Yeah, it is. That's the point I've found where it's the most northern point anywhere in the world that I found it rising. Now that's between here and Singapore. There's a place here, where was it? La Paz, Bolivia. La Paz, Bolivia is basically, it's just above the Tropic of Capricorn, and that's where the sun should be now. So if you're in La Paz, and we look at the traditional model, really right now the sun should be rising directly east, and it should be going straight over
It should be just in straight above you all day. Rises from the east. At its zenith, it's straight above you and it sets directly west. But no, it doesn't. So that place like La Paz in Bolivia, again, it does a very similar thing to what it does here in Sydney. 114 to 246, 111 to 250. It's just weird, isn't it? So you look at Hobart. Hobart is what I sort of thought. So it rises further south than here, and it sets further south. That makes sense. Now, I had a bit of a look, and again, when you look at the traditional media and when you look at mainstream media and Wikipedia and things like that, for your history, for your knowledge, you have to do it with a grain of salt, because quite often it's fake, it's not real, because they're trying to protect their lies and they're trying to just they're trying to push their lies even more. But in any case, that's all I can do when it comes to the makeup of the world, because we're not being told any different apart from the flat earth psyop, which is of course another psyop, because it doesn't explain. That AE model does not explain why the sun is south of me when I'm south of the Tropic of Capricorn, and that's it. The argument starts and stops there. If it fails on one measure, it fails, you know, and that's where I am, guys. You can't attack me for my beliefs, because all I'm doing is trying to get to the truth. Remember, I've got no preconceived ideas. I do this with no prejudice, and I absolutely do not know the makeup of the earth. So you can't ask me questions. You can't ask me to explain shit, because I don't know. All I'm trying to do is get to the truth, because I know that it's a lie. And because I don't know the truth, it doesn't mean that your truth is a lie. It is the truth. And also, because you can't get your head around for want of the better word, I won't use that word, but because you can't understand the magnitude of the lies, it doesn't mean that they're not. That doesn't mean the truth isn't truth and they're not lies. So you don't trust your government with your taxes. You don't trust them with anything. You don't trust your politicians. They're going to say one thing after they're elected. You say all that stuff, don't you? Yes, you do. But as soon as the lies, as soon as they counter your belief system, instantly they must be true. We believe the government then, huh? Yeah, because the lies are too big for you to comprehend. And again, I'm just a guy from the Central Coast with 50 subs trying to find shit out. Okay, so we have a little bit of more of a look here. Now, it's Chile, that's the place I'm talking about. That's the most southern landmass on the face of the earth, bar Antarctica, that I could find. And it's a little place called Punta, I'm not trying to say that. All right, so you have a look there, and it's way south. It's 125 degrees, so that's getting close to southwest. Southwest is 135. Southeast is 135. 135. It's 125. So it's slightly north of southeast. So it's very, very south where it rises down there. Now you have a look at where it sets 236, and remember the west point. The west point is 270. 236. That's interesting. That's not far from Sydney. No, that's actually not far from Sydney. It's only 10 degrees from Sydney. So it seems as though there it doesn't do quite a loop, and it rises more in the southern sky than what it sets in the southern sky. It sets further to east. But in any case, moving right along, so you can see a lot of these places here. I've just put them on because they're different land masses. They're further east than the other place. They're further south than the other. So they're further west than the other place. So I thought I'd eliminate that. So places like Boston and Seattle, they're on the same land mass, but they're Boston's east and Seattle's south. But I'm pretty sure they're pretty much on the same longitude. And you can see they're very, very similar. Again, they rise in the southern sky, they set in the southern sky, and it's almost a mirror image. Both of them, they're almost a mirror image to what I see here in Sydney. You know, and that's the other side. That's the other side of the so-called equator. It just makes no sense. This object in the sky is rising and setting in pretty much the same spot the whole world over. So the other one I wanted to look at was, funnily enough, I'm here on the 33rd parallel. That's where I live, in the southern parallel. And predictably, the home of the globe, Israel, is on the 33rd parallel as well. So you have a look at those two. So we're exactly the same point in terms of where are north and south from the equator, because we're the 33rd parallel. It starts at 0 at the equator and it works its way down, it works its way back up. So you have a look at Israel,
113 degrees it rises, Sydney 114, Israel sets 248, Sydney 246. It's pretty well exactly the same, but we're on completely opposite ends of the earth. I'm just dumbfounded. I don't know where to go with this. I'm going to try and superimpose some things on maps to see exactly the direction things are coming from, because where it's coming from here is, and I did it on my Day in the Path of the Sun video. The trajectory it does, it comes from the direction of Auckland, New Zealand, and then if you keep doing that line, it starts in Antarctica, and then it comes up here and it goes just over the north of here, and then it sets in Perth, and it just keeps going south. But yet, when it rises, when it goes past Perth, it rises in England, and it's just in England, it's just south of east when it rises there. So England is just sort of, it's south of Perth. You know? So this is the stuff I'm sort of finding out. You have a look at, you take the absolute exaggerations, like I know they have the 24-hour sun in St. Petersburg in June, so I thought I'd have a look at there, 130. And you have a look at, does it compare to any other sort of place? Not really. It's really south there, but it doesn't get to southwest. It doesn't get as far as southwest as anywhere. And when it sets there, it's comfortably inside south. Sorry, it doesn't rise southeast, but it's comfortably inside southwest. So you can see all these places. I won't go over all the places. This video is already out to about 25 minutes, so I won't go over all the places. But it's interesting, isn't it? So if there's anybody else out there who can see this video, who's interested in this, please collaborate with me, because I'm really keen now to see. I'm really keen to see if the sun is south at its zenith, whether it's south of centre at anywhere. No, it would be, wouldn't it? In England, it would be south. But if it goes anywhere further north than me at its zenith, and it's pretty well straight above me at its zenith. If anyone could contribute anything to this, not dribble, not vile, not I'm a moron, no, because I don't think the Earth's a globe. You know, not having a go at me because there's too many cicadas in the background, not coming on and being glib because I can't explain shit and that must mean it's a globe. I mean, if you want to do that, but you go for it. But there's no point. It's not the design of this video. I'm really not trying to reach you. So you have your fun, you be glib, you push whatever agenda you want to push, you go for it. But it's not going to get any response out of me, because what I want to know is I want answers to this. And the globe, it doesn't cut it. I articulated that at the beginning. It doesn't cut it, no matter how much that bloody... you can have the tilt going all the way to Antarctica, you know, and if that tilt at Antarctica is the tilt that's pointing at the sun most, that means Antarctica at that time is pointing directly at the sun, which means the sun should be directly above it. Right, and that's what's happening now. The sun should be directly above the top of Queensland. It should be north of me all the time. It should never be south of me, no matter how much this alleged tilt happens. And there is no tilt, because there's no globe. The Bible clearly states it's not a globe, and my senses clearly states it's not a globe. It's just preposterous. I mean, really, if I come out at Liberia, I'm upside down. How do you reconcile that? You just can't. You just can't. I mean, the concept of an explosion that come from nothing, that created everything, that created all this perfection, is ridiculous. Who created the creator? You blather. I mean, I want to know all this stuff. That's what I want to know. That's why I'm walking with Christ. And all these answers are coming true. They're coming to me. God's delivering them to me. He's delivering me all these answers. So just don't. Well, in any case, that's enough about the globe. So yeah, anyone, please contribute. I wanted to put this together, so Karen, I hope you can see this. I wanted to put it together for my next spot on Sun and Moon, because sort of this is I'd like the conversation, if I could be so bold, I'd like the conversation to move sort of in this direction, because it's freaking me out. It's sort of doing my head in how the sun, it's basically coming up in exactly the same point in the sky the whole world over,
and then it just does a different path. And it just, the more I look into this, the more it seems apparent to me that England is south of me.